Hi, I'm Marino, creator of the Awaken Your Wellness Now blog. When I post this video, it will be the day that's known as the winter solstice. Now, in the northern hemisphere where I am, this day is usually on December 21st or the 22nd. Now, this year it's on the 21st at 10:59 a.m. So to many people, this is known as the first day of winter. But to other people who don't like the winter, this is also known as the darkness that never seems to end. So today I'm going to discuss 5 ways to deal with the dark days of winter. Now, where I live in New York, on the darkest day of the year, which is the winter solstice, it gets light out about 7:30 a.m. and it gets dark at 4:30 p.m. And if you're going to work, you may go to work in the dark and you're also getting home in the dark. So this can feel like the proverbial gut punch, and it feels like you're never seeing the light of day. And it can be a real challenge to stay positive and cheery when this happens. Now, the dark days of winter can bring about changes like sadness and depression, loss of energy and fatigue, excessive sleep, changes in appetite like weight gains and excessive eating and cravings. You can also get irritability, sadness. You can get burnout. You can get feelings of isolation and feeling like you're trapped in your house. Now, Dr. Ramanpreet Kaur, a psychiatrist from the University of Washington, did a study, and she said that this lack of motivation, the increased sleeping, the irritability, these different behaviors that you see in people in the winter were typical behaviors, and she actually called this behavior seasonality. Now, the doctors say that they're not exactly sure why this happens, but they think it has something to do with the seasonal changes and our exposures to light and darkness and how that changes our sleep cycle. And they feel it has something to do with the levels of melatonin, and that when there's lightness, the melatonin is told to shut off. But when there's increased levels of darkness, it increases our level of melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. And that cues our body to sleep and gives us the desire to want to sleep more. So they think it has something to do with this. Now, Dr. Kaur says that our mood is a complex web of the relationship of how we are affected by light and darkness, our melatonin levels, also our serotonin levels, which are affected by light, and how this affects us overall. Now, if you think that you're somebody that's affected by what's called SAD or seasonal affective disorder, Dr. Kaur recommends that you see your primary care physician. Now, you may have larger swings in what's called seasonal depression. You may also have other issues like vitamin D deficiency. Now, if you're diagnosed with seasonal affective disorder, your physician will recommend different possible treatment options. It will probably depend on the severity of your symptoms. It may include things like light therapy, dawn simulation, medication, and possibly even cognitive behavioral therapy. So let's talk about the different things that you can do to deal with the dark days of winter. So first, I want you to keep your mindset focused on the positive. There is so much power in your mindset and what we focus on. If you focus on the negative aspects of winter, then you will always have a negative outlook towards the season of winter. Now, if you focus on the positive, you just might change your mind about winter. Now, what I like to tell people is a point about winter that happens to be like an aha moment for a lot of people. Now, I love the darkest day of the year, which is the winter solstice, right? Now, I know that seems a little weird, but you got to remember most people have a skewed view of the winter season. Now, most people just think it stays the darkest of the year throughout the whole winter. But we need to be reminded by science now that each day after the winter solstice, every day of the winter gets a little bit brighter and a little bit lighter every day. We get brighter out every day by 90 seconds to 2.5 minutes progressively as the winter goes on throughout the whole winter. So each day of the winter, it's getting a little bit brighter and a little bit lighter every day. So if you had the focus of the whole winter as being dark and being too dark and being dismal, just know, and I want you to change your focus, that you can know that every day during the winter, it's getting a little bit brighter out every day. And you'll notice that after about 3 or 4 weeks, when we get into January, it makes a big difference. You can actually start, instead of it getting dark at 4:30, it starts to get dark at about 5:15 or 5:30. And before you know it, it's in February and it's 6 o'clock and then 6:15. And then we hit daylight savings time in the 2nd or 3rd week of March, and boom, it's 7 o'clock at night. So for those of you who think that the whole winter is dark, I want you to remember that every day after the winter solstice, that every day after the winter solstice on December 21st at 10:59 a.m., every day after that it's getting a little bit brighter and a little bit lighter every day. Now, I've always enjoyed the winter. Whether it's hikes or winter walks with the dogs or snowshoeing or skiing, I've just always loved the winter season. But even with that, sometimes those dark, long days of darkness can really get to you. And we need to stay positive and need to be reminded of the things that we need to focus on. Now, I've been happily married for almost 25 years, and my wonderful wife is of Norwegian descent. And I've been fortunate enough to go to Norway numerous times, and I consider it almost a second home. Now, Norway, which is a Scandinavian country, and are used to long winters, there's a city, Bergen, which is in the northwest side of the country. Now, in December, they average about 5.5 to 6 hours of daylight each day. Now, in an article by Vox Media titled How to Make It Through Winter, they talked with a Norwegian man who discussed the term, now forgive my pronunciation, hygge, to make winter less challenging. Now, hygge is a Scandinavian term, which means, and I'm going to read this now, the value of warm, happy coziness and togetherness which people make time for in everyday life. Now, hygge is also referred to as the good feeling you get from a cozy, aesthetic, pleasing environment. Now, another word that's used by my Norwegian family is koselig, which means cozy or a cozy warmth or a comfortable feeling. Now, this koselig or cozy feeling is about lighting candles, it's about sitting on the couch by the fire, it's about warm conversations with friends and comforting foods. This is the feeling, and it helps us through the darkest times of the year. Now, there's a great quote by Edith Sitwell that I believe captures this feeling well. And the quote is, "Winter is time for comfort, for good foods and warmth, for the touch of a friendly hand, and a talk beside the fire. It is time for home." Now, I'm going to give you a few other quotes that I think give you a good spirit and a good positive feeling about having a positive mindset for winter. Here's one from John Steinbeck. "What good is the warmth of summer without the cold winter to give it sweetness?" Here's another one by Hal Borland. "No winter lasts forever. No spring skips its turn. So no matter how you feel about winter, spring will be here before you know it." Here's another one from Albert Camus. "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that there was in me an invincible summer." So the first tip for getting through the dark days of winter was to be positive, to have a positive mindset, and see the winter in a positive light. Now, the second tip is to exercise. So very often with the dark days of winter, we have a tendency, we get home in the dark from work, and we have a tendency to want to just sit on the couch, eat something, and do anything but exercise. But if we can, we want to keep the same habits that we had when there was more light in the late spring and in the summer and the early fall. So what we need to do is to make sure that we keep up our level of exercise. And that the easiest way to do that is to, number 3, is keep a routine. So number 2 is to exercise and make sure you regularly exercise, which may mean going out for a walk when you get home, as soon as you get home, and schedule it in. So even though it's dark out, you could wear a reflective vest, or you can have, as I have, we have dog leashes that light up, different things so you can stay safe and be on the sidewalk and be lit up so cars can see you. So the third tip for beating the dark days of summer is keeping a routine. Because there is a tendency when the dark days of summer come, and when it's dark when we get home from work, or the dark just creeps up on us quickly when it's dark at 4:30, or in some countries even earlier, that we need to keep routines. We need to have a plan of exactly what we're going to do. So let's say it gets dark at 4:30 and we get home from work from 5. What am I doing between 5 o'clock and dinner? What am I doing after dinner? So instead of going right to that couch and watching more TV and then going to bed, do the things that you would normally do. Okay? You want to schedule them out so that you make sure that you're doing them. And you may have to adjust according to the darkness, whether it's driving out to the store, whether it's exercising either at a gym or in, let's say, your house in the basement or different areas. You want to keep those routines going. Number 4 is getting sunshine. So what this means is making sure that some point during your day you get out of your house and you get sunshine. So whether it's at lunch hour where you can eat your lunch outside if weather permits, or walk around the building or walk around the block at your work, it's getting, 1, the exercise, and 2, getting sunshine on your face. This will help your mood and also helps us synthesize vitamin D. Number 5 is finding a wintertime purpose. What I want you to do is set a goal for yourself. If you set a goal for yourself that's less likely to be less efficient during the winter time. There's that tendency when it gets dark to not do as much, to sit down after dinner and sit on the couch and watch more TV and then go to bed and put it on rinse and repeat. But what we want to do is find a purpose that we can set for ourselves so that we can accomplish this through the wintertime months. Whether it's playing an instrument like guitar or piano or saxophone, or you want to read a certain amount of books that are going to help you on your way to reaching a goal. By finding that wintertime purpose, you'll find that you'll have more structure and more motivation to do things during the dark days. Now, the bonus tip is to stay socially connected. Now, remember, in the winter months, there's a tendency to have increased levels of sadness and depression, anxiety, feeling of loss, feeling of fatigue and energy. So if you keep socially connected, whether it's with your friends, with your family, it also may be things like church members and groups, different areas of going out to helping the needy as well. All of these things will help you find purpose during the winter months and keep you socially connected to other people, which will increase your levels of energy and happiness. So in review, my 5 ways to deal with the dark days of winter. There was 1, keep a positive mental attitude. 2 was exercise. 3 was make sure you keep a routine. 4 was make sure you get some sunshine during these winter months. 5 was find a wintertime purpose for yourself. And the bonus tip was to stay socially connected. So I'm going to finish up with a quote, okay? And I'm going to read this one. We cannot stop the winter or the summer from coming. We cannot stop the spring or the fall or make them other than what they are. They are gifts from the universe and we cannot refuse them. But we can choose what we will contribute to life when each one arrives. That's from Gary Zukav. Well, I hope this information helped you out. And as always, if you're seeing this video anywhere other than my blog, go check my blog out at awakenyourwellnessnow.com/blog. And as always, have a great day and be positive, be motivated, be focused, and be well.